Be honest, I know. Tell me.
If you're trying to test out the
What's up, y'all? Tempe against police violence. Coming at y'all with a quick live video. Well, it's not going to be quick. It's going to be quite a while. Arizona Auditor, what's up? New Mexico Citizen, what's up? Dangerous Dan, what's up? So, doors just opened. We'll figure out how this goes. Who's gonna get some peanuts? What's up? Yeah. Crafty Craft, hello.
I wasn't able to.
Sorry. Sorry. I'm gonna step outside. Catch up with these comments. Oh, we have tons of questions ready to ask them. This is, what's up? Good, and you? This is a community talks about policing in Tempe. Lots of things happened over the years that caused this to happen, like the shooting of Antonio Arce, Dalvin Hollins, the Okri family tasing incident. So basically, the mayor, Mayor Mitchell, city manager Andrew Ching, and police chief Sylvia Moyer is on the panel today, hosted by Pastor Andre Miller, and we get to ask questions and they have to answer. So I'm gonna go back inside, find somewhere to sit. Hello. That was the police chief that just said hello to me. Got a spot right up here in the front. Andrew Ching will be right there. Mayor Mitchell, Chief Sylvia. Yep, use of force. That's our main focus. That's right there, use of force policy. What's up, Lucas? Nice to see you in here. It starts right now at 6. No, what I just showed is a copy that we want to be able to produce. Um, City of Tempe provides a use of force policy from 1988. Whenever we do a public records request for the use of force policy, the most recent updated one is like 2007 to 2009. We need the use of force policy updated. Of course, Fear is in here.
So apparently we have to fill up that little form with the question we want to ask.
Just put that you got a question.
Yeah.
Don't put down the whole question.
Yeah. No, but I guess that we're not gonna be able to ask the questions. Apparently, Pastor Andre is going to read the questions, or she went to ask right now, but that's what she understood right now.
Hello, Tucson Lori. If that's the case, I gotta go and fill out another one.
Stream the whole thing. You are. I'm debating not saying.
Yeah, I'm live streaming the whole thing.
How good is the quality? Do you know? Like, is it actually like HD? Like, you can see very well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just over Chief Moya talking about somebody who had mental health issues, and it was like an arrest. It was like that ID. Like a kid, so gotta be brought to. Have you heard about that?
I don't know. I need to step outside. I don't want to lose my seat. And
Another question. Does that look like I do?
no. Maybe.
Yes.
Maybe.
Are you live still?
Yeah. 1 second, y'all.
Running.
What's up, Be Real? We got Mike Pooley right there. 18 people right now.
Hold on. Order force as follows. Hit maneuver, cuff, shoot.
We got Jim Freedom right there. If y'all haven't subscribed to him, make sure to sub to him. That's Jim Freedom. He has killer videos and killer editing content.
What's up, Jim? Good, how are you? A chick. Oh, you do have a free hand, okay?
Yeah.
How's it going? Good. I fucking want Corey Woods.
Walking in there.
So, enough seats. Well, I know you're probably gonna stand.
Yeah, I always stand. I'm a stander.
And then we got Phoenix Cop Watch over there. Hesperia, thank you for that donation.
Actually, I just talked to Mike Hayes and said, hey, I want to sit down with Chief Moyer, and she said, okay. I was like, cool. But I said, I don't want Chief Moyer's detail there, and he said, the only way that happens is if you meet us at the police department and go through security.
The only
And I
way
said,
I'll meet with her is if
make it happen.
Commander Hale's not there.
Oh shit, I should invite him.
Oh, no.
I actually like him though. I would meet with him.
You see the video I posted of when Chief Moyer was
Yeah.
Which one?
From
Did you see
the...
the video of the truck driving on the sidewalk? Did you see that video? He had a truck driving on the
Oh,
sidewalk.
that... Yeah, I posted that and that's got like so many views.
Hold on, I sent it to Corey the other day. Right here, ready? The guy's running. Tempe PD goes running. Faster Tempe PD goes running.
Arizona Auditor says, what's up, Jim?
You ready?
What up?
Here we go.
Phoenix Cop Watch.
How's it going, y'all?
Shit, I need to go ask Mike about that and be like, Mike, what the fuck?
We
What's
got
that? Who's that?
Jim.
Phoenix Top Walk. Nice to finally meet you here.
Mike's fucking talking to, he's talking to Chief Warrior about that kid.
About the running one? The truck?
No, the other one I mentioned.
Mute it?
What's up?
You want me to mute it? Oh, I thought you had something to say.
No, I just said
Which gun you got
I
right
got the
there?
lychee. Is that the tangerine one? Shit's fine. Yeah, that one's good. You guys going to the Sanders rally tomorrow?
No, I fucking work. There's no way in hell I'm getting out early enough for it. I mean, if I could get over there, I'm gonna go, but I got a lot of hate from my YouTube subscribers for being biased at the last one. And I was like, I'm not a voter. Like, I'll go and protest at a Bernie Sanders rally. I'll go protest at Bloomberg. Like, I'm not a voter.
Huh? You gonna be there? Yeah, probably. Yeah.
What's up, Juvie?
I like to say
Yeah, don't get me copyrighted.
I like to question
Oh,
whatever
got
side
you
thinks
sing
they're
to make
right
your
at the
video get
time,
taken
you
down?
know?
Ready? I'll sing.
Oh, no, don't. So is it how you said?
Yeah, so at the beginning, yes, but then they supposedly said that afterwards, there's gonna be like an open Q&A.
Okay.
You doing?
Good, and you?
Good. Hey, man.
How's it going?
Good. So you were Chris.
Derek.
Did they give you that?
Oh, this is mine.
Oh, that's yours. Okay. I should give him a special one. And I don't believe it. You know what I mean? So. Down. And please pass my information cards. Give my information from my phone number. And
Thank you.
And at the end of the forum, I guess there's gonna be like an open Q&A.
Yeah.
Hey, you told me to come here an hour ago. No, how are you?
She's leaving soon. She told me she's leaving soon.
No, it's a couple more minutes, I think.
Wait. Scared?
Just wasn't expecting that. I've heard of it. I'm not too filled in on that, but I know it was a protest of some sort. This starts right now in a few minutes. Let me see one of those. I want to get a new one. I just wrote question on it.
Bro, don't put dumb questions.
Oh no, I just wrote question because I thought that we were going to get the mic, you know?
We'll get them at the end.
At the end?
Yeah. So, I mean, these are the questions that can stand alone,
Okay.
you know?
Is there something like
Yeah, so, maybe we can collaborate on questions. So, one of the questions
That's the police chief right there. Can I see a pen?
get off of my computer.
I'm back. Sorry. The police chief was not out there at that stop. At the Guadalupe stop, yeah, she wasn't there. You're just another commenter, Fear. That's all you are. Go get some water.
All right, can everyone hear me? Can everyone hear me? Clear? All right. While you're making it to your seats, if you desire to ask a question or have a question asked, please do me a favor and grab a card in the rear. If you do not have enough room on the front of the card, just flip it over. There's nothing on the back. So you can go ahead and finish filling it out on the back of the card. We're going to go ahead and get started again. All right, so first thing is I'll introduce myself for those of you who know me. My name is Pastor Andre Miller. I do a lot with criminal justice reform. I do a lot with policing in the city of Mesa. I do a lot with the school districts throughout the valley to make sure that there's equity. So I have my hands busy. So I was tasked to come out of the city of Tempe, a city where my family members live, a city where I've done community service work, a city where I love, I shop, etc. I was tasked to come out and assist with these conversations, something that has helped in other valley cities, and I think it is something that will help the city because previous to this, there have been some conversations, but there have not been conversations of the magnitude outside of city council sessions where citizens have the belief and the feeling that they can come, express, share, and get their questions answered right then. So that is where we are today. That is why I am here. Please know that every question that is asked, if it does not get answered tonight, you will get a personal response and an answer from me. So your questions will get answered. If not tonight, they will definitely get answered, period, okay? So right now, I'll have the mayor open up, and then we'll have a statement from the chief, and then we'll have a statement from the city manager as well.
Well, first, thank you, Pastor Andre Miller. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for being willing to take on this challenge to help us discuss the future of Tempe and listening to our residents and our community. And I want to thank all of you for coming here this evening for the first series of the Tempe Listens. It's so important that we hear from you and the issues that are important to you and our community. And I know we're going to have a series of issues pertaining to the city, but tonight we're going to be focusing on policing and the policies that we are looking at in the city of Tempe and our community. And we're here to listen to you, to listen to recommendations. There's always room for improvement, and we are open to ideas and suggestions from our community as well, because we want to continue to build a Tempe that is safe and focuses on the respect and understanding of our entire community. This is a first step in a path to bridge our community on issues that we face in our community, and we are definitely here and welcome your thoughts and your input as we continue to move our community forward with everyone involved. So thank you so much for being here, and look forward to your thoughts and your suggestions.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Sylvia Moyer, and I serve as the Tempe Police Chief, and I have been in this role for just about 40 years. I welcome you. I appreciate you carving out time to express yourselves, to make a difference, to challenge, and to move Tempe forward. I am a peace officer. I believe in service. My entire 32-year career has been about reducing harm and serving people. I believe in procedural justice, which is giving voice to people, transparency, impartiality, and fairness of process. And that's not only internally for the men and women of the Tempe Police Department, that is a commitment that we demonstrate with our community and those that want to make a difference in Tempe. So I am here to listen, I'm here to respond, I'm here to value what you bring to this conversation, and I, again, appreciate you taking time out of your life to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Miller, and thank you to all of you for being here tonight. My name is Andrew Ching. I'm the city manager of the city of Tempe. I know many of you are here. We have had an opportunity over the last year plus to hear from a lot of different voices of concern, specifically about policing in Tempe, but also about policing in general. And as someone who has lived most of their life here in Tempe, as someone who has built a career working here at the city of Tempe, I consider the honor and the challenge of being in public service to be something that I think about and that I take very seriously and very deeply every day. The opportunity to improve, the opportunity to do better starts with the acknowledgement that we have to do better, that we have to be able to serve all of the communities that exist within our community. And if we can't acknowledge that, if we can't do that, then we can't have a good conversation. What I want to have tonight, for my part, is to have a good conversation, to listen to the questions and to answer them when I can, and to get information if I can, and to have all of you here and to be acknowledged that your opinions matter, that we want to know ways that we can continually improve the services that we offer. Tonight we're talking about policing, but in future events and listening sessions that we're going to have, we will talk about other aspects of the city of Tempe, and I'm excited for that. I'm looking forward to it, and like I said, we are committed to hearing you and to responding and to continually figuring out ways that we can do what we do better, because all of this is very, very important to myself and to all city employees who work here at the city of Tempe. We take that obligation very seriously. So thank you.
So in opening up this conversation, again, we're talking about policing in the city of Tempe. The first question that was submitted was by Brian Messinas. Mark Mitchell has previously said he supports a civilian review board with subpoena and firing power, and that's been stated on video. Has your stance changed, and what will you do to get this done for Tempeans?
Thank you for the question. And more importantly, I'm open for change. When we have a citizen review panel right now, and we're open for transparency. I'm very open for making sure that we have a very requirement for diverse makeup of our review panel, and we're always open to suggestions regarding our review panel in terms of legalities, what we can and can't do. So I'm very open to the suggestions, transparency, as well as making sure that we have a diverse makeup of our citizen review board, as well as making sure that citizens can have an opportunity to report claims as well, citizens' complaints as well to the review panel.
So do you support at this moment a review board with subpoena power and firing power?
Well, at the moment, I think this is something we can take under consideration, and as we can answer the questions further in terms of legality, I don't know what we can and can't do, but that's something that we can bring back to future meetings of this, so that we can look into the ways in which how we handle those issues.
Thank you, Mayor. Next question was from Ruth Lindsay. It says, has the city acquired military weapons from the federal government? What use could cops have for weapons of war?
Well, I suppose I should answer that one. I am not aware of any weapon systems that we have received through the program that offers such weapons to municipalities. I would just say that we have not. If we were to pursue any kind of achievement of any kind of surplus from the military, it would be for those kinds of things that would provide shelter to people during a catastrophe. It would be for those things that provide personal safety equipment to the men and women that then safeguard people. I can't imagine a time where we would acquire weapons from the military. So I don't know of any at this time.
Okay, thank you. Also, again, if you have a card, city staff can get your card from you. So just raise your hand if you have a card. If you fill it out, once it's done, raise your hand, and somebody from the city will go ahead and grab it from you. This question is pertaining to the Antonio Arce incident. Why was this PTSD officer by himself on patrol for this call? Why did the officer shoot a person 14 when his life was not in danger and the boy did not aim at him? What happened to know the situation before you shoot, and why did you not inform good? Miriam, where you at? Over here. Miriam.
Good history, the report that came through in the newspapers was not good history,
Okay.
and I'm wondering why that was.
Okay, so why did you not inform good history on this situation? That's the question, correct?
Okay. Why did we not inform? I don't.
Why did we not inform good history? Are you talking about the officer, his previous performance? What do you mean by good history?
I'm talking about the incident itself and the situation that occurred. I have it on the authority of those who were there that the situation was not as it was told to us. And I just want to know when I'm asked to be a good historian, I would ask the city to be good historians also.
So the history that you received just city history from?
Of the situation itself.
Correct. Is it just city history, city explanations, or media as well?
Yes, the information given to the media was not in fact historically correct.
Okay, thank you so much. Chief?
So I'm not sure sure where to start. I'll start with the first thing that was offered about, you made a statement in the question about an officer with PTSD. Without speaking specifically to this case, there's a lot in open source media that people can go to. I can tell you that if there is an officer that has a claim where they do not believe that they are full duty, fully able to operate as a police officer because of a physical or mental condition, that employee would be removed from duty and sent to specialists that could assess and evaluate an individual officer for their readiness to fully carry out their duties. We rely on professionals to make their assessments of folks and tell us if they are capable or incapable. There were a lot of other questions in there. I just want to say, relative to the tragedy that was the Antonio Arce case, it is a tragedy. And you've asked a lot of questions relative to that. I believe that we have been open and honest. We rapidly assessed the incident. We provided the family opportunity to examine the body-worn camera footage. We showed the body-worn camera footage to the public to be open and transparent. And my belief is that we have been fully transparent relative to the issues that occurred in that family.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Another question, Miriam, are you willing to adopt a civilian oversight process that is the same as the one passed in Phoenix? I think the mayor kind of alluded to that, but I'll let Chief answer that specifically.
Well, since 1999, we have had a citizens review panel. Since 1999. That panel is composed of citizens, it's composed of police personnel, and upon an incident that will be reviewed by the panel, we get a subpanel of 6 citizen members and 2 police department members. It's one sergeant, one line-level officer with the citizens. Before they're even impaneled, the group goes through rigorous training to understand policy, to understand policing, to understand use of force more broadly, and a number of other things. That body is trained. Then when they are impaneled, they come together. Individually, they examine the entirety of the case. Nothing is held back from the members of the panel. Emotional commitment that they make to examine the data in any kind of encounter. From there, they make recommendations. One of the 4 recommendations that they make are they can agree with the finding, they can disagree, they can advise the chief of police if further investigation is warranted or demanded. And upon review of the use of force incident, the body can make a further finding of if the use of force was in policy or out of policy. So the people that are impaneled, are part of the Citizens Review Panel, see everything, and then they are empowered with advising the chief of police.
Chief,
So, yes.
do they see the information post or pre-adjudication?
Typically, it is after the case is adjudicated. In any kind of fatal encounter, an officer-involved shooting, there are 2 branches that occur. There's a criminal investigation with homicide investigators and professionals that leave no stone unturned to gather evidence. Then that body sends the case over to the Maricopa County Attorney's Office, where we know that the Maricopa County's Attorney's Office makes a finding, a criminal finding. The other side is one of our administrative or internal investigations. That is where our internal investigation staff does a very similar investigation, leaving no stone unturned, and they create a complete investigation with allegations, the whole investigation, and then findings. They're very distinct by design and by statute.
Thank you, Chief. We have a question by Joel Cornwell. and I want to make sure I ask this correctly. Are you willing to remove officers from the civilian review panel since they are already on the force review committee? Joel, where are you? Right here. Okay. That's the question. Are you willing to remove officers from the civilian review panel since they're already in the force review committee? Yes. Or use of force review committee?
Yes.
Okay.
So that would require a change to the ordinance, for which it is outside the realm of the police department. I do not understand what we would hope to achieve by removing professionals internally. And what is independence? Transparent.
Okay, real quick. Hey guys, real quick. So let me explain something. Let me give you the rules and the groundwork. So anytime, let me give you the rules and the groundwork. That's period. You have to be respectful because what's going on is bigger than any one person or any one individual. You may not like the chief of police, and that's fine. But guess what? She sits in the office until she's no longer chief of police. You may not like the mayor, that's fine, but he's the mayor until he's not. So in order for us to have an effective conversation and dialogue, everybody in this room, we all have to be respectful. I understand emotions may be heightened, but at the end of the day, for people to have a conversation with you, you have to be respectful. So I ask tonight that you please refrain from being disrespectful, refrain from outbursts. If you have a question, we'll get it asked. If you don't get an answer that is acceptable, talk to me and we'll figure these things out. But at the end of the day, we will not start shouting. We will not start going back and forth. We're not going to do that tonight because that's not effective. That is not beneficial to anybody in this room. So are we all clear on that? Thank you all. All right, so next question. Throughout the use of force policy, is the reasonable belief a subjective term that allows for implicit bias and death of a young teen of color by police being justified in your policy? Will you remove reasonable belief? And the question is on Sarah.
So that is the standard set forth by the Supreme Court. The prevailing court in the land has determined through a rigorous process that Graham v. Connor is the law of the land, and it states objectively reasonable. Now imagine, that is what the officer knew at the time, what they perceived before them. The trap is, if we apply that same standard after an event, knowing other factors, or beyond the complexity, beyond the heightened emotion, beyond the event that is occurring right before an officer. And so the law of the land is objectively reasonable, and that will remain in our policy.
Chief, a follow-up to that. So Graham v. Connor, it is a civil case that went to the Supreme Court. So do you think that that particular civil case is something you should use as a standard for criminal prosecution when you look at an officer?
Well, that is the law of the land that is when any body is considering criminal charges.
Okay. So again, the follow-up to that, basically, there's been a lot of conversation about this, and again, this being a civil case, we're using the civil case to justify a criminal matter. So there are several people who are running for a county attorney, and they all have said that to justify criminal charges. So if a county attorney decides to use criminal statutes for a criminal case, as the chief of police, would you stand with the county attorney in doing that?
It's difficult under that circumstance to say I would in whole. There is I believe that the Supreme Court has examined a body of cases to still arrive at and solidify the belief that objectively reasonable is the right standard given where we are as a society.
Thank you. All right, this question is from Hunter Ruffin. It seems a gulf is growing between the police and our community. In my work as a priest, I witnessed the way this relationship transforms communities. What are ways that we can work together as faith communities, neighborhoods, etc., to build stronger relationships with the police department in an ongoing and sustainable way? Thank you, Hunter.
I would never assume that I know exactly how folks want to interact. That's why I believe that what we do is we meet where people are and we discuss and we evaluate this kind of notion of co-policing. Co-policing offers that I can't just assume how everyone wants to be policed. It offers that we need to examine the expectations in neighborhoods, in communities. And I would say to Hunter, wherever Hunter is, that we should meet in places where people worship, where they do business, where they are, so that we can engage in dialogue and more clearly understand the expectations that all communities have of the police department.
Thank you.
And in times really where someone's not in a crisis, that is not the time to attempt to establish a relationship. We need to understand each other when we are outside of the chaos and outside of the crisis and the emotional event that brings a lot of police officers in contact with people.
Chief. Next question from Jewel. Are you really ready to provide a transparency to a mother and father immediately when their child or family member has been killed, not want control or to see if you have coverage?
Some assumptions in that we release body and everything that we've demonstrated has been an authentic, open, respectful, compassionate attempt at connecting with people, even in tragedy. I get it is. I'm a cop, and I've been a cop for 32 years, and I've seen a lot of stuff. I've witnessed a lot of stuff, and I've had violence perpetrated on me, and I've seen awful things, and I've seen amazing things. And I can tell you this: I'm ready to view a video, to view body-worn camera footage, because I know what's about to happen. And as a human being, every time, and I know what's coming, and I know when it's coming, every time, it is gripping, it is awful, it is horrific to watch two human beings in conflict. It's awful.
Thank you.
And I'd like to finish, sir.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
And I could say that we make, however difficult it is for people, a genuine attempt to be open to what we know and surround the family, offer a family, and in this question it was a mother and father, to wrap them with services and people that support them and be there for them while they view what they're going to view and while we connect with them. And all I can ask for is grace, and all I can ask for is that we remove the assumption that somehow I'm an animal that would release a body-worn camera video that shows something tragic to cover my back or whatever the term was made. It's I will, even with the condemnation.
All right, question from Catherine Mancini. Could you describe a plan to have 100% of justice and law enforcement staff crisis intervention trained? If not 100% trained, what are the barriers to this?
Sure. So CIT, the crisis intervention training, for those that aren't familiar, that aren't familiar with it, is a program of training that guides interactions between law enforcement officers and those living with mental illness. They're designed to improve the way that the police and the community respond to people experiencing mental health crisis, escalate, to use the time and tactics to de-escalate, and to bring about a calm presence to diffuse a hostile situation. That's CIT in essence. And I can tell you over 50% of Tempe police officers are CIT trained. This exceeds everyone in the valley. It exceeds, it is triple the average, the percentage of police officers that are trained across this nation. And the recommendation by the federal government is that we have officers CIT training. But I'll tell you this, we've made the decision not to seek 100% training. And some people would say, well, that's not wise, that's not smart. We say we want men and women who are trained, that want to do better, and we are continuing to train 5 to 7% more officers every single year to continue that trend in Tempe is what our cops want. It is what our community wants, and we are continuing to renew our commitment to CIT training and to far exceed standards and averages locally and nationally.
Thank you. This question from here. What do you think Tempe PD can do to ensure that officers do not use violent, excessive force against civilians, especially those who are disabled, who are deaf or hard of hearing, who are experiencing a mental health crisis, who have autism, etc.? Disabled people, especially disabled people of color, deserve to be safe from police.
So we have a commitment to not only in many ways. One is we have people who apply to be a Tempe cop. Less than 1% become Tempe cops because we have very high standards. So coming in, we hire men and women of character. Secondly, we have a robust training for people across the spectrum. Everything from mental illness to autism, those suffering from cognitive impairment and other disabilities that make the connection more difficult and more explosive. We have ongoing and continuous training for all of our officers in a number of specialties and in the general body of work in policing. We have administrative accountability measures with use of force review boards, with an openness to accept citizen complaints, a healthy and hearty review of use of force review. All of our officers up through the rank of lieutenant, we repeat it, all have body-worn cameras. And we do audits. We have high compliance with our policy. We review policy. We look at national standards, smart practices, and we are continually evolving in this space. I have extremely high confidence that the men and women of the Tempe Police Department are selected for the right reason, trained well, and held accountable to our standards.
Suffering from PTSD, will there be moving forward since the Officer Hines incident? Will there be moving forward any type of parameter to make sure this information gets to the Tempe Police Department? If an officer is under mental health care, or if there may be some questionable things with their mental health.
So, well, I could say this. We have a number of systems in place for folks to self-report, to get the aid that they need if they're suffering from the acute, chronic, and cumulative toxicity that is modern policing. We are working to prevent human beings who provide service as police officers. We have a number of peer support programs and those folks that are trained in intervening with their peers. And I have a healthy respect for our personnel division in the city, that they will get the resources to bear to aid someone who is suffering.
So Chief, it's stated that you said that police are tougher on their peers in terms of discipline than civilian review boards. And the question is asked, does anybody in the room believe that officers are tougher? This is a question for the audience. Does the audience believe that officers are tougher on officers in terms of discipline than civilians would be? How many of you believe that officers would be tougher? Just raise your hand for me. It's okay. Just raise your hand. Do you believe that officers would be tougher? Raise your hand. I want to see you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you all for participating. So the question, Chief, is, you made that statement, police are tougher than their peers in terms of discipline than civilian review boards, and the citizens of Tempe, those who are here, do not believe that that is true. So how can you reaffirm that and allow them to believe that that actually is true? And also, in this, okay, anyway, go ahead and answer the question.
So what Pastor Miller is referring to is, I served on him, was an attorney, and in charge of or a member of, I don't recall which, the LAPD Police Commission. He is now working with Chicago PD. And he said that in his experience, that the officers in a review capacity in internal affairs are those that police officers render far more strict and disciplined, and are far harder, tougher, using this term, on their peers than the civilian review boards were. He said, and he had research that bore out, that citizen review boards give wider permission for officer behavior, in his experience, than did police officers. So in my experience, I have found, and there are many professional bodies that have found something similar, that I have found that officers hold other officers to a higher standard and higher accountability. We have shown it in Tempe. We have shown that our officers are willing to come forward when one of their peers errs and to hold them accountable. And so that was his statement. I did no independent research to corroborate his statement and his research, but I have the experience as well.
So, Jim, where are you at? Okay, so Jim, I'll let you, if you can come up here real quick, explain what the question is. So the question is it possible to stop enforcing victimless laws? So I want you to kind of explain it for us, and then this is a question for the chief, right? Next, right here. Thank you.
Is it possible to stop enforcing victimless laws?
So
like, a victimless law is like drugs, for one thing. Obviously, other cities, I know that might be a shock value for some people, but other cities have found that when you decriminalize drugs and you treat it like a health problem, not criminalizing it, there's nothing but benefits from it. So things like that, there's plenty of research involving those things in it. Plenty of research that suggests that the enforcement of victimless laws like jaywalking, marijuana, seat belts, all those things, all they do is put more pressure on us as citizens. We're already struggling to survive, and these things are, you know, like when there's lights behind you, you don't think, oh, I'm going to be protected now. You think, crap, what did I do wrong? How am I about to be punished? You know?
Thank you, chief.
We enforce laws in the state of Arizona. I would object to any assertion that jaywalking or not wearing a seatbelt is a victimless law. And we vigorously enforce those things that are Arizona revised statutes passed by Arizona. So I can't imagine a time or space where we would do that.
Okay. So guys, you guys are filling out cards, and that's great. I appreciate it. But I need you to do me a favor. Please put your name and your email address on it so I can reach back out to you if it's not answered. There are a lot of cards up there right now with no names on them. So you don't have to be anonymous. Nobody's going to punish you for a question that you asked. And I want to make sure I can reach out to you if you have a question. So if it doesn't get asked and you don't give me a name, there's no way for me to follow up with you. And then you'll leave and you'll feel like the question's not being answered. And I don't want that. So please, if you know that you submitted a card and you've not heard your question, you may want to come up here and we can give it to you and we can ask it. All right? So Michael asked the question is for the mayor, the chief, and the city manager. Yes or no? So that's all he wants. Do you believe it is morally right for one person to seize the life of another person?
I think humanity dictates that we interact with each other in a way that respects humanity.
I agree. I mean, serving as a mayor, but also growing up in this community and being a father, and working with a lot of friends here that are here today, humanity is the most important aspect. And I think it's important that we make sure that we understand human life. And it's tragic that life is taken, but in no circumstances, it's important that we value life. We all do. That's why we're here. And we value our community. So I think it's important that we continue to value humanity.
I think the presumptive answer for me would be no, but I also understand that there are times when you have to defend yourself, and there's history. The history of man is replete with examples that although no one wants to be in a position to have to take another person's life, that sometimes it is more morally correct to do so if it prevents harm to others. I think that would be.
Chief, instead of telling us what you think Tempe PD is doing right, please offer ideas to improve it. Your cops are perceived as bullies, and the community is not satisfied.
Well, I would say that by all accounts, we have a survey that says 84% of our citizens are satisfied with the service we provide. Does that mean that we always do it right? No. Does it mean that we are going to rest and believe that we can just continue to do policing the same way in every circumstance? No. So I would say that I'm not sure how I've described that we do everything right. I could say that largely the men and women in Tempe trust the Tempe Police Department. They feel satisfied with the service that we provide, but that is not an invitation for us to stop assessing self, and it's not an invitation for us to stop improving the way we engage with people.
So for those of you who are in the room, how many of you are satisfied with Tempe Police? Okay, thank you. How many of you are not?
And I'd ask, of those that raise your hand that you're not, how many of you live in Tempe that we're serving?
Question?
Of those that said they're not satisfied, how many that raised their hand that they're not satisfied do live in Tempe?
And the reason for that question is because at the end of the day, if the chief is saying that the majority of people are satisfied, and we look in the room and we see about 40% of the people who are here raise their hands and say they're not, that means that we have work to do. Is that correct? Right. Absolutely, right. So if you guys are saying you're not satisfied, again, that is why this meeting is so important, that we find out, are you willing to remove G4S from public parks to stop traumatizing kids in the culture of fear?
So G4S, there's an underlying assumption in that question that kids are traumatized. G4S is a body of professional folks that have been hired, contracted with by the police department, and trained in a number of things. They accepted and engaged in training far above and beyond what we initially asked them to, so that they in de-escalation and a number of identifications of what services people need. They understand our services in Tempe. They can connect people with services. I would say that I feel it's fiscally responsible. It reflects the demands that many neighborhoods had regarding the activation, the positive activation of parks. Because what folks in Tempe said to us is that illegitimate use of our parks is driving out legitimate use. So when folks came to us and said, we don't feel safe in our park, we said, we examined the issue. And we said, why do you believe illegitimate use is driving out legitimate use? And what can we do as responsible fiscal stewards? And we made a determination not just to hire anybody off the street, but to hire trusted and proven folks that would accept additional training in how to interact with people. And we hired G4S. And the communities are speaking to us and saying they feel safer in the parks. They have interacted with G4S and largely feel that the interaction is positive, it's professional, and it's achieving what they asked us as those that safeguard them. It's achieving what they asked us to do. So I would not support that at this time.
How many of you support their presence in parks? Thank you. Next question, Sarah. We are aware of the fact that the police have long-range acoustic device, which is a military weapon used against peaceful protesters. Why are you violating peaceful protesters' First Amendment rights? And what is the official policy on when you use LRAD? Because last time we were informed you did not have one.
So I'm not aware of our use of LRAD. And so I'm not aware of our use of LRAD.
So that's not something that the City of Tempe Police Department pulls.
I am not aware of LRAD use.
Can I speak to that? That was a question. And they had.
Come to the mic.
Tempe had, the police had a open house day where they showed us the LRAD, so they do have these weapons, and we've seen you take them out at protests. I've personally seen them with my own eyes at protests. So I'm speaking from experience here, and you've also showed them at your open house day. When then you asked you, did you have a policy of when to use it? And we were informed by your department that you did not.
So if we showed it, I would connect with the team and find out under which conditions we use them. It's not a weapon. LRAD is a tested device that disrupts and disorients in order for people to disperse. It would typically be used in an instance where a protest has become violent or disruptive to reset folks to get them to disperse. And that would be the typical use. But I have to look to see how it is used, if it's used in Tempe.
All right, question from Linda Arters. I believe we must recognize and address that law enforcement individuals who is also a human being with loved ones who want their cop to come home, the human side of being a cop to the public. In other words, you call 911 for help in an emergency, but how many of our residents will face down the robber, assaulter, shooter with a gun? The public runs the other way. We must also teach others to honor and respect cops. So I don't think that is particularly, well, there is a question in there, but I think a lot of that is also a statement. So the question for the chief is, what are you doing to address the human side of being a cop to the public?
So we're doing many things. First of all, we have engaged in mindfulness and meditation for our officers. The important thing to know about this is that we have officers trained in mindfulness, immersion, basics. We have officers that are trained in nutrition, in yoga, in a number of techniques that are designed to protect people. I've said it before that policing we are fraught with the chronic and cumulative, acute, this toxicity of engaging with people when they're suffering. So we take a proactive approach by before our folks go into the academy, they are assessed for certain and specific psychological measures. Before they go into the academy, they go through training to ready them emotionally, physically, in terms of their nutrition, their resilience. They go through a body of work that has been broadly developed and studied in terms of mindfulness and meditative practices, with the intent that they build the ability to make better decisions between stimulus and response, that they let the event unfold before them, that they can take in more data, they can make better decisions, and then post-event, they build tools to build their resilience.
Thank you, Chief. Ms. Linda wants to add to her question.
I wanted to clarify just, Chief Moyer. I'm into the two-way communication, so we're listening to all what you're doing for the officers. But I strongly believe that what I meant was how many people will go be a cop for the night and address a trouble. What are Tempe people doing or could do, or the city could do, to explain more about what is actually the life of a cop? What is it like, and what is it like for their family members? I think that possibly getting more of that understanding, where they will walk a mile in their shoes, would help as we work together to get some conflict resolution and some understanding of this.
Okay, let me kind of address that a little bit. How many of you know that all police officers are not bad? How many of you know that? Okay, I think almost everybody raised their hand. Okay, so everybody in the room raised their hand. So we are, oh, you believe everybody, all police officers bad? Okay, we'll talk later. But here's the thing, 99.999% of us in the room raised our hands and said that we believe that all police officers are not bad. Well, we do know that there are bad police officers. How many of you believe that? Okay, so everybody believes it. There are bad police officers, right? And I believe at the end of the day, no one is trying to discredit the humanity of police officers. Everyone knows, how many of you have a relative who works in the police department? How many of you have friends who work in the police department? Okay? So almost everybody in this room is touched by someone who wears a shield and a gun, who goes out and risks their lives on a daily basis. And how many of you want them to come back home? We all do, right? So at the end of the day, no one is trying to villainize or make all officers bad. That is not what these conversations are about. That is not what I believe the community is saying, but I believe we're saying that there are officers that have issues that probably should not be on the street, and we want to address that when that occurs. Is that right? Is that right? Yeah. Okay, just checking, making sure everybody's still woke. If you got a neighbor next to you, they're asleep, wake them up.
No, it's not just individual officers, it's institutions.
So we institutional, systematic issues. Yes, there are many systematic issues that we are aware of. And at the root cause of most of the things that we're doing now, the conversations that we're having, looking at policies, those are aimed at looking at systematic problems in policing. That is exactly what it is. So many.
What's up, Joker?
It's not just individual bad cops. The systems that
But listen to this. Listen, at the end of the day, you do not want a bad police officer on the streets. So as we tackle systematic issues, at the end of the day, you don't want bad cops on the street. So we want to make sure that those officers who shouldn't be on the street are not on the street, as we still tackle those things that are systematic. If you can be honest, if we all can be honest, there have been problems with policing since 1776. So we're not going to fix those overnight. So it's going to take time. It's going to take people like you who have a voice, who see a problem and an issue, sharing what you see to get systematic change. Okay? So I want to be clear on that. Nobody in here is trying to villainize all police officers. So I just want to be clear on that. All right. So I hope to see, this is actually a good segue to this statement. I'm not sure if they want me to say their name, but I hold a seat on the use of force board. I want to just comment that we look at all body-worn video, and that holding back video or audio is not done. We don't look to cover the backs, we look for the truth. And this is a citizen comment. Yours, Jamie. Thank you so much for that. All right. Question, no name. Sarah, right now, the citizen review panel does not separate investigations. Would you be willing to create separate investigations so the police aren't investigating themselves? So in the city of Mesa, when the Robert Johnson incident happened with the excessive force case, the city of Mesa sent those cases. There were two cases. There was the Dade case and then the Robert Johnson case. They took both of those cases and they sent those up to the city of Scottsdale to be investigated. When the city of Scottsdale investigated those cases for the Robert Johnson case, they said no, they did everything within law. For the Dade case, they said the officers have violated the law and the county attorney should charge them with aggravated assault charges. So, Chief, are you willing to send investigations outside of Tempe's doors?
In certain circumstances, it may be warranted.
In certain instances, it may be warranted.
May be. We haven't found that has been necessary, but I think the question was largely about removing officers from the citizens review panel. Is that accurate?
That was the first question.
Oh, it was brief. Okay.
Yeah, she said you can answer that. She wants an answer.
So we have 2 sergeants and 2 officers in addition to citizens, and we think it is a healthy way to form the panel. It's also in ordinance that is the way that the panel is composed.
Is Alex Love here still? Yeah. Can you please come forward? I want you to ask your question. And while he's coming, I'll ask this question. Are you willing to remove AR-15s on the back of motorcycles to stop the culture of fear?
Well, arriving at the decision to put a long rifle on a motorcycle, I did not reach it easily. I will tell you there are many things that informed the decision, and it was agonizing. It was agonizing because I understand the optics. It was agonizing because we live in a society where we from people with similar weapons. I did not arrive at that decision by happenstance. I arrived at that decision by asking the question, given our environment, given traffic intensity, given the physical environment that we police in Tempe, can officers get to threats in a time that we expect them to arrive at a threat? I was sufficiently concerned with our ability to rapidly respond. So I commissioned a study, and I asked the folks to examine what might it look like if we were to find a rifle that would fit on a motorcycle in the saddlebags or in some container in the motorcycle, so that motorcycle, given traffic intensity, could get to the threat and eliminate the threat, where perhaps a car couldn't. And so our team went out and they studied a variety of systems. And what they found was, they reported back that the weight of all of the equipment that we have currently on our motorcycles, that the condition that was created by adding another box container to the motorcycle with a weapon inside, so it was hidden from view but easily accessible, said it was unsafe. And it was unsafe because of the engineering of the motorcycle. They said it created a wobble. Now, to me, that just means the motorcycle's unsafe. For motor officers and those folks in engineering, they said it was frightening and it was not possible. So they came to me and they said, Chief, we have two options. One is we put the rifle on the motorcycle, but it will be in plain view. The second is we don't arm officers with an equal weapon that would be able to eliminate the threat. We could do nothing. I did not arrive at the decision rapidly. I didn't arrive at it without angst. I arrived at the decision because of my higher duty. And my belief was that while some might see a weapon system on a motorcycle and find it shocking, I said more shocking to me is not rising to my duty and not doing anything. And it was after I met with folks from Sandy Hook Promise, the parents of young kids that were murdered in the Sandy Hook massacre, that I said, doing nothing's not acceptable for me. And it was not without condemnation. It was not without some people questioning me. But I stayed true to my values and said the right thing to do. That I was not going to give up our ability to respond, to stand between someone who wanted to do harm and someone that was going to be harmed. I was not going to do it because of optics. So I made that decision and I stand by the decision as right and proper.
Thank you. Question from Kim Dartes. It says, what implicit bias training is Tempe doing, and how do you measure its effectiveness? And is this citywide, or are you speaking of just the police agency?
I'm speaking of the city.
And I got you. City?
Yes.
City as a whole?
City, police, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I can start with the police department. Fair and impartial policing training in 2017. All of our officers have participated in fair and impartial policing training. We learned the difference between explicit and implicit biases, attention individuals outside of their conscious awareness. We continue to train in implicit bias and have a full commitment to continuing that body of work. It is the right thing to do, it is proper, and we believe it makes a difference in how we show up for our community.
Thank you, Chief. Go ahead.
I guess most of my question is for you, Sylvia. So the first question is, most of your calls involve some type of conflict resolution. Am I wrong? So are officers equipped when they're being trained and when they're provided these weapons? Are they equipped to deal with conflict resolution, armed to the teeth, ready to go to war? So the second part of the question is, and maybe Mayor Mitchell might want to chime in on this, would it be possible to get rid of part of the police department, take a lot of the budget, and go to have specialized medical teams for conflict resolution as well as crisis intervention, and not have that risk of armed person potentially making a conflict worse.
Thank
And also another question, Sylvia, have you read Warren versus Washington D.C.? If not, you should probably read it.
So I'll address the easiest one. I don't recall reading Warren v. Washington DC, but okay. Sounds interesting. I might pull it up. The other is regarding de-escalation. I think that's the best way for us to address the initial question that you asked. We in the Tempe Police Department engage in de-escalation. Just today we finished our training for a grant that we received that's the first of its kind. This grant is a smart policing initiative. We were given nearly $1 million to study de-escalation. And de-escalation is basically techniques to calm self and others to reduce the likelihood of a force encounter. And we engaged with ASU, Dr. Mike White of ASU, to study de-escalation, to identify our top de-escalators, to create a body of work with some experts, two experts in creating curriculum and delivering curriculum. And today we just finished the final day of our de-escalation training. What we hope is that there will be in a randomized control trial, really the gold standard, that we will see that officers in Tempe are de-escalating more, that they are using the techniques that they have been taught, and we will examine the way that they engage in de-escalation tactics by reviewing body-worn camera footage and other means to assess how they engage in de-escalation. We believe that this is going to change the way across the nation that police officers engage in de-escalating self and the circumstances that they're in, and it will likely reduce the fatal or use of force encounters between a police officer and a member of the public. So we're all in terms of de-escalation.
Thank you. Mayor Mitchell, this question is from Renaissance. The expenditure on G4S and large paths have the intent of dealing with homelessness. These are strategies that could have been implemented which do not include punitiveness and criminalization of people and identities. The current strategy does not help people escape from homelessness. What do you believe are best to no longer live or be without homes?
Thank you. In regards to G4S, I just something the council considered heavily. We heard from many residents in the parks. We have a park every square mile. We're investing in our parks to this day. In fact, we're investing over $60 million to activate our parks. And some of the parks that we have activated, they feel the residents have contacted the council and the city regarding not feeling safe in their neighborhoods, which prompted us to meet with the police department. We had neighborhood forums, neighborhood meetings in certain parks to look at ways that we can help make sure, as we mentioned earlier, we want all residents to feel safe and treated with respect in our community. And that's the approach that we took. In regards to homelessness, I feel Tempe is a very caring and compassionate community, and there's always more that we can do to improve what we're doing, and we're doing that as we speak. So much so that we're providing additional resources to us. We have an upcoming budget for those that are trying to find help. We have a housing first strategy in the city of Tempe. We work with community partners and civic organizations to help our communities of those that are in need. In fact, we offer wraparound services, and we're going to continue to expand those services and make sure that we find individuals homes as much as we can. We actually had a housing navigator position over the last year, and that one individual helped find housing for over 100 individuals and family members. And we also addressed housed individual and family members, over 3,000 individuals and family members over this last year or so. And that is something that we're committed to. We're working on a regional partner with the city of Mesa, Tempe, and Phoenix. We have a city manager from all three cities, as well as the mayors and myself and some city staffs from respective cities to look at how we can take on the challenge of homelessness as a region. It is a regional issue. It's not specific to one day, what she's looking at. And that's something that we're going to continue to build upon and continue to invest, because we care about residents, all residents in Tempe, whether you're homeless or whether you reside in our community, we're very caring and compassionate for that reason. And we're always open to changing how we do things. And we have done so. We are constantly in a state of change. As a city, we listen to the feedback that we receive from our community, and we're always open to the dialogue to help improve our community.
Thank you, Pastor Miller. If I may join in that, one of the chief performance measures of our Human Services Department is to end homelessness. And one of the things I think Tempe and most communities have recognized is you do not arrest your way out of homelessness. There is no long-term strategy to try to get people out of homelessness and back into housing, jobs, services that they need through arresting people. That being said, our courts have been set up for some time to address homelessness and to put people who are experiencing homelessness on a track towards obtaining the services that they need, a homeless court. In addition, this goal that we have, this performance measure to end homelessness, is geared around human services being the leading edge of it, which is why we have a HOPE team, a homeless outreach team that goes into our parks and into our city and engages with homeless individuals to try to get them into services and housing. We feel it's the best approach. The police department serves a purpose in contacting individuals, helping get them information. Our parks officers have worked tirelessly to try to establish relationships with homeless individuals. And G4S is part of that strategy in the sense that, again, it's not about arresting people, it's about getting them matched up with services. And also at the same time, protecting the park assets for the entire community to be able to enjoy. It's a very difficult balance. Homelessness is not a problem that respects political boundaries. It is an increasing issue in cities all over this country. And certainly we're no stranger to that, and we will continue to work on homelessness in Tempe.
Thank you, guys. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We need to give someone a break real quick, so we're going to take a 5-minute break. So if you have questions, you need a card, fill it out, and then we'll start back in 5 minutes.
I can try real hard.
I'm going to excuse myself and go to the restroom. Yes. I'm trying to drink lots of
You talked really good, James. I just want to let you know, my question about ongoing and sustainable was it's an invitation. I'm not trying to, yeah.
I would,
Yeah, absolutely. And we have time. I know you're doing a bio thing, so don't let me keep
All right, and we begin to make it back to our
I didn't get all of it in, but that was by choice.
back? No? Just cookies? Crackers? No hot stuff? Potatoes? No? No hot?
What's up, Spitting Cobra? They're about to start up right now. Restart.
All right, as soon as she comes back, then we'll get started.
I think they're about to have me ask my question.
All right, so this will be a lightning round, if you will. Again, as I opened up, I shared some questions will not get answered tonight, but I will ensure that if you have contact information on them, that those questions will get answered. You have my word on that. So I'm going to open the floor. We have a few people who had submitted a card that said they wanted to speak. They did not give a question, and that's fine. I'll respect that. We'll honor that, and we'll allow those individuals to speak. So there were, let me see. Oh, there we go. So the first question, the first comment will come from Adrian Bryant. And if you come up, I need you please to come to the mic and speak into the mic. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Adrian Bryant, and I called Tempe Police Department for a mental health crisis on January 20th in the evening. Tempe Police Department arrived to my home with 2 guns drawn, canine dog, and gear for a mental health crisis call. Myself and my younger son came out of our front door to not be able to go back into my apartment where my son, who was having a mental crisis, was alone. We were escorted down 3 flights of stairs by your police department. The sergeant, who I did not know at the time was a sergeant because I was a supervisor, stated that my son had a felony. And when I called 911, I stated it was a mental health crisis call. I stated my son's first and last name and my son's date of birth. 24 hours later, after my son was taken into custody to Community Bridges, my son was transported to St. Luke Hospital, where I learned that the petition was in the incorrect name. The name of the gentleman is a known felon with 2 warrants. The night of the incident, I gave your officers my son's phone number and his name. What I want to know is, what are the police doing with CTI training? I called for a mental health crisis. My son is not a felon. My son's name is now associated as an AKA of a felon. And we are still trying to get this resolved. 2 months later, my son was admitted into Community Bridges Hospital, where he stayed for 5 days under a wrong petition. My son did not get the mental health medical attention that he deserved, and why I called 911 for a mental health crisis call on January 20th. I asked for an investigation. Internal Affairs officer called me back 2 weeks ago, stated that they saw a body cam, of which 2 guns were drawn on my youngest son. My son has not really left my house since January 20th. They closed the case. Internal Affairs said they recognized their errors, they heard dispatch, they saw body cam, and they closed the case. They can't fault my sons because they're not criminals. And the thing that they said was, ma'am, you said that there were knives in your home. You said that you needed help, and you were cursing on the call. So for that reason, I'm faulted, because I'm dealing with a medical mental health crisis, trying to call for help. And my son was treated like a felon. The difference in regards to the height of my son and the felon, almost 1 foot difference. He was a black male. And what I'd like to ask is, you talk about transparency, Chief. You talk about these things. This is not a meeting to just eat snacks and have further discussions. This is a meeting that we are requesting action from. I come from a family of peace officers, retired peace officers. Your officers, 7 or 8 of them responded to that call that evening. None of them recognized, even after I said my son's legal name, did they verify? Did they have any other questions to ask to nullify my son and give him the proper treatment? Because they assumed he was a felon. I want transparency. I want this case reopened with internal affairs. And this is a problem that we are facing because there's no policy that is standardized with Tempe PD, the mental health crisis. There was a mental health officer that was on that call that night, and he never was activated. He was on standby until he received direction from the officers. That did not happen.
Thank you, Ms. Aker. Thank you so much. Chief.
So Mr. Bryant brought up this issue before, and I don't want to go through the whole case right here in front of everyone. I think it respects you, respects the privacy of your son and his mental health condition.
I'm not embarrassed by any of that.
And I think it's the best thing for us to do for you and I to sit down and talk about that, and perhaps convene with Lieutenant Collins, who was the primary investigator on the case in its entirety, and lay out everything for you and see where we need to make improvements and discuss the case in full. And I'd like to do that with you privately.
Well, I would appreciate that. I reached out to you 2 months ago,
Okay?
along with the mayor, the vice mayor, the councilman, the councilwomen, city manager.
And I would relieve them of that because it solely rests with me, Mr. Bryant.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
All right, thank you. The next person that we have here is Luke Mulderette. I want to make sure I pronounce it correct. You relinquish. Thank you, sir. Jamie from the Citizen Review Board would like to address a question about removing officers from the panel, so I'll give her time. Now, let me also make another statement. Again, many of you are asking for policy changes. You're asking for actionable things. The actionable things, the chief, the city manager, and the mayor cannot always give you an actionable item just off the fly. So let's be clear on that. City governments don't necessarily work like that. So they cannot give you an actionable item, a policy change, right here tonight off of the fly. That is not how this thing works. So if you have a question that is pertaining to a policy change, it's something that you desire to see, it does take time for that to happen. And that is why we want to follow every concern, every question, and every policy item that you have tonight. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Jamie Tappleton, and I am part of the Citizens Board Review for Use of Force. And I've heard several of you talk about and address removing officers from that board, and I wanted to address that. That's a real wrong decision, and I'm telling you that as a citizen, because without those officers, we do not have the insight of what their policy is. We're not making a decision when we go and do something on what the officers tell us to do. We have standards that we have to follow as citizens, and we're all citizens of this city, and anybody can join this board. We look at the officers for procedure and policy as far as they know it. And we look at our expectations of citizens and what we feel the officers should have seen or have expectations of as well. We review those body cams, we review those audio tapes if there's no video. We ask questions to those officers, and they are an important part of this process. And And I want you guys to understand that they're not there to sway any decisions that we make. They're there to help us, and sometimes they may be there to see policies that need to be maybe looked at a little bit further. And I think that you guys need to see the other side of that, and I think removing officers are a huge thing not to do.
Thank you. All right, the next question, and then I'll have Barry and Barry, you can go ahead and make your way to the mic. The next question is from David, who's here. In the officer, they wanted you to slow down. In the officer involved shooting review process, has the Tempe Police Department found areas that have been lacking, and not only have they found them lacking, but have changed any process and policies as a result?
So in the process, we consistently look at what are the smart practices. We examine what led up to the shooting. What we are focused on at this point is an officer-involved shooting is like a full movie. The shooting occurs on one frame. What we are doing is saying, what was in all the previous frames that led up to this one fatal frame, the decision-making that led to the officer-involved shooting. We have changed some training. We have implemented, like I talked about very lightly earlier, mindfulness practices that officers are trained to take in more data and make more sound decisions. And so the most profound way that we have changed officer-involved shooting protocols is in our culture and our demonstration of transparency.
Thank you. Aaron.
What will be future precautions hopefully taken by police excluding training?
Excluding training? Yeah. So I've talked about it before. We are recruiting and selecting people with distinction. We are training our folks in well, you didn't want me to talk about training, but I will emphasize we train them in an array of tactics, of de-escalation, of how to remove and separate people from violence, how to use means to calm self and reduce the likelihood of a force encounter. We reinforce our policies. And here's the reality. We can have everything in place, everything right leading up to an event, everything supportive, everything in our culture to ensure that officers have the training and tools, that they're trusted, that we have policies that are sound, and we can still have a human being that operates outside of our values and inconsistent with our training and our expectations. We are committed to reducing the probability of a fatal encounter, such as many that have been played out across this nation. So it is for us about reducing the likelihood of a flawed and fatal encounter.
If I may add on to that, Pastor Miller. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry, it's not.
No? Thank you. The other piece of that, what Chief Moyer was talking about, also has to be a robust system of investigation, discipline, and accountability. I think those things all go hand in hand. I want to sort of, in my 20 plus years of working here at the City of Tempe, in previous capacities, I was involved in reviewing and understanding quite a bit and advising regarding police officer discipline, including a termination. Accountability piece in the police department, Tempe Police, as well as many other police departments, has to be a critical component of everything that the Chief just said. If in fact we do what we need to do, which is to equip officers to be successful, and they fall outside of the acceptable practices because they violate our policy, the consequence has to be that there is a disciplinary consequence. And any disciplinary consequence in the police department or among any city employee that exceeds 40 hours of suspension up to and including termination is appealable. It's appealable to our merit system board. Tempe's Merit System Board is a personnel board that reviews all disciplines above 40 hours upon request of that particular employee. That is a part of our Tempe City Charter. Our charter actually says that the board shall exist for that purpose, which means that if it was going to be amended, it would also have to be done by an election, because that's the only way you amend the Tempe City Charter. But I just wanted to place a little bit of context to say, talk about specific instances in time, more recent in time, and things that we know about because of personal experience or because of the media. I wanted you to know that there is a lot of discipline and review and accountability that occurs within Tempe PD and around the city of Tempe that is deemed worthy of coverage by the media, or it isn't. It falls short of being, for instance, an officer-involved shooting, one that results in serious injury. But there's a wide array of different things that officers are held accountable for that are short of that. And I wanted to make sure that all of you listening tonight and watching understood that context existed. Thank you.
All right, this question is for Darian. How can we ensure mistaken identity isn't an ongoing issue? In the case of Alderman Lee, he was mistaken as a 6-foot man with brown hair. Note that he is bald by Officer Rodriguez. Okay. How will we stop this racial profiling? Basically, again, the mistaken identity being an issue. How will we stop this?
Well, I'm not familiar with the case that is being expressed. We have human beings, all the tools that they have to appropriately identify folks, and mistakes still occur. So I think the way to reduce it is that we hold ourselves accountable. If there is a mistake of fact, we do the right thing to admit there's been a mistake of fact. And so that is how we would engage with that.
All right, so we were promised we would see updated statistics from 2011, 2012, that were daylighted in 2015 from USA Today. That showed Tempe was more racially biased than Ferguson. We want those exact stats updated. We don't want any more excuses. Will you be transparent and update your stops and arrest data by race?
So the article that's being referenced in this question is from 2015. It predates my arrival in Tempe, but the team, upon my transition to joining the Tempe team, they felt it was so compelling and important for our community that I understand the whole context of that article, that they briefed me on what it showed. And this is, in essence, what they said. That the article was written in 2015. It relied on data from 2011 and 2012, so 2 years of data. However, these statistics were flawed, and there were mistakes made in the way that the data was collected and assessed. And this is what they reported to me. They said that, Chief, the data showed that, let's say there was an arrest of a subject. The subject was arrested on a fresh crime. The subject was booked and released into the community. They failed to appear on their court case. That person came into contact with the police again and was arrested on the failure to appear. So imagine, if you're arrested on a fresh crime and then arrested on a failure to appear, if the data showed that there was 2 separate arrests based on race, it would skew the statistics. This is what we know. We know that once the collection, assessment, evaluation, and reporting was brought to light, that there was a consciousness that it was flawed, but there was no, to my consciousness, there was no retraction of the report. To rely on that, I think, is improper. But does that mean that we will not put our data out? We are an open organization. We have our policies online, we have a number of metrics online, and I commit to meeting with the team and examining this very data.
So will you commit to putting that data online for individuals to see arrest by race?
So I wholly commit to examining the issue and seeing how we can collect and distribute that data.
Thank you, Chief. Next question is from Genevieve Vega. What data-driven approaches to behavior indicators have you considered for tracking and measuring officer actions? For example, the City of Phoenix has discussed an early intervention system to evaluate leading indicators in community policing. This could provide transparent data for decision making.
So we are an organization that believes in evidence-based policing, identifying and using the best available research out in the body of work in policing to implement and evaluate our policies, evaluate our practices, evaluate our decisions. And evidence-based policing is not just data. Data is part of science. Decision makers consult data. But evidence-based policing is largely or broadly used by organizations to prevent crime. We believe that while that is an important way to use evidence-based policing practices, data that informs that, crime prevention should not be the sole focus of evidence-based policing. We are engaged in examining how outcomes should be included in terms of evaluation using evidence-based policing practices to include use of force, legitimacy, recruitment, retention, training, officer wellness, citizen satisfaction, and a number of other measures. So what I say to that question is that we consult data, we engage in evidence-based policing practices, not only for the way that we suppress or mitigate crime, but we are extending the use of data and evidence-based practices to inform and examine a number of other measures. We are using the stratified model of policing, and I don't want to get into a woo-woo science, but I will say that we believe that data enriches the way that we police. It enriches how we assess, and we are broadening how we use data to assess how we show up for our community.
Thank you, Chief. This question is from, did not deserve to be almost grabbed and taken to jail. With them trying to grab my 11-year-old granddaughter when we were just walking. Okay, so can you train your police that we allow as protesters to walk on the sidewalk? Basically, no one deserves being grabbed or taken to jail. This lady had her 11-year-old granddaughter who was almost accosted by the police, and they were walking peacefully. So I think also one of the crux of this question is there are times where police officers do not really understand the parameters that they're allowed to do, or the things that they're allowed to do in policing. And so you will find an occasion where someone is protesting peacefully, and then they may be accosted by a police officer because the officer believes or perceives that they're doing something that they should not be doing. So what are we doing to train the Tempe police officers about peaceful protests?
Understanding the Constitution. Police officers that work in Tempe and everywhere else I've seen respect their responsibility to protect the rights of people to protest as much as those to enjoy a crime-free life. And so our officers are trained generally. Our incident response team, they are specifically trained in tools and tactics to ensure that folks can protest in a way that is peaceful and meaningful and doesn't disrupt or harm others.
Thank you, Chief. Jules' question, Jewel asks, are you willing to remove the counterterrorism unit with stingrays which intimidate peaceful protesters and our First Amendment rights?
The Tempe Police Department doesn't have a counterterrorism unit or a stingray device. Any use of a stingray goes through a rigorous process before a magistrate. The use of such a tool to surveil people rises to such a level that it cannot be just easily entered into. There is no Tempe police officer that would engage in use of such a device without going through the very necessary protections of the citizens of our society that require a police officer to go before a magistrate to deliver facts so the magistrate could determine if it's an appropriate use of such a device. To imply that a Tempe police officer could do such a thing is merely ill-informed. We don't have a counterterrorism unit, and perhaps the person who asked the question can clarify what they're talking about.
So I'm really wondering what's the point of this forum when you're just bold-faced lying to us over and over again.
Wait, stop. So again, let me explain what I said at the beginning of the hour. No.
Respect is a two-way street. We're not getting respect right now.
Listen. So, at the end of the day, when you talk about respect, you can get respect. If you're not getting an answer that satisfies you, that's one thing. But nobody is being disrespectful to you. So you may get an answer that you do not like, but that's not disrespect. So
when it's not truthful, that's disrespectful.
Perception is one thing. Facts are another.
We have facts.
Let me finish. So at the end of the day, don't be disrespectful, because that is not conducive to dialogue.
What you're doing is tone policing, which is something that happens often to Black women. So let me finish what I was saying. What I'm saying is, we have data. I'm telling you that we've been affected by LRAD and stingrays, and then you're denying our experience. I'm telling you that I'm afraid when I go into parks, when I live next to the park, and I see G4S holding their guns while they watch kids on skate parks. There's no reason for that. When I'm telling you that I feel scared and we don't trust the police, when I'm telling you we can look at nuanced data, we can look at statistics, and we can look at across the country models for citizen review board, and they don't have police because that's not independent. And if it's not independent, then it doesn't meet the requirements of community. And we just passed a brilliant policy in Phoenix, and we were part of a community coalition, and we made sure that in the community coalition, we made sure that it didn't have to change the city charter. We made sure it didn't affect the police bill of rights. That's why we didn't actually ask for hiring and firing power in this. We asked for recommendations. We also had a separate office for investigations, and that's actually Denver. You can look at Detroit. These are models, and you're denying it, and you're denying our reality. And all I've learned here today is that Sylvia Moore is unremorseful. She doesn't care about our opinion, and she denies our reality. When all of us raised our hand that we do not trust the police to investigate themselves, and she says, "Oh, well, according to my data that was done by police." Look, I'm a PhD student. In order for me to publish knowledge, it has to go through a peer review board, and no one else that's in my school can do it because we can't trust ourselves to investigate ourselves. That goes across all disciplines except for the police. So the police are not being treated fairly or equally compared to the rest of the community. And I don't really know what the point of the community conversation is when you're just condescending and you're not listening to us and you're denying our realities. So what is the point for it? Because it's just a conversation so you can check the box, so you can say that, oh, I did this, so you can have it, so you know, as you're on the campaign trail, Mark Mitchell, or what is the next steps?
Thank you. Let me address that first before the mayor does. Let me address that, and before the chief does. Again, as I explained, tonight will not be the night you're going to get commitments to a policy change across this table. That is not going to happen tonight. I understand that people are upset that you're being tone police. You are definitely not being tone police by me. My point in facilitating this is letting you know that there has to be respect when we talk and converse. That's all I'm saying. That is not to say that you cannot say what you desire to say. It's all about how we say things. So at the end of the day, if you feel like an answer is not satisfactory, we can have a conversation something to you from the facts that they have in front of them. I think it's okay to listen to that and then have a conversation about, okay, I do not believe that those facts were satisfactory. I think that that's okay. At the end of the day, guys, listen, It does not benefit or behoove any of us to argue with one another to try to get anything done. That is not how you get anything done. I share this all the time with people. Lyndon Johnson, in my estimation, was a racist. But Martin Luther King Jr. sat down at a table with him to get civil rights changed. And it happened through a constructive dialogue. Yes, there were protests. Yes, there were people yelling. Yes, there were people marching. But at the end of the day, in order to get things done, you had to sit at a table and have a conversation to do that. And so this, you can come to the table, but there's a method and a manner in which you come. And I've already explained that to you. We've had a conversation as well about that. So we can talk again offline. But at the end of the day, no one wants to sit and talk. You're screaming, yelling, condescending, or whatever the case may be. And just because you don't get an answer that you are, just because you don't get an answer that you want to get in that moment, does not mean that you won't get the answer. So to get upset, to get angry, to get hostile, is not a way for any of us to move forward in the city of Tempe, period. Not saying you're tone police, not saying what you're saying is not valid. Nobody, I'm not saying that for a fact. But what I'm saying is, in order for us to have a conversation, sit at the table and have a dialogue, this is not the end all. This is not the end of what's going to happen in the city of Tempe. There will be opportunities for us to get in a room and talk about policy with individuals who have a stake in the matter. This is not a room where you're going to hash out policies right now. Is everybody, are we good on that? Okay, so chief or mayor, whichever.
I'll start. And I'm saying this out of pure sincerity because there's not one person on the city council that does not value the input of our residents. And we are transparent, we have these community conversations so that we can become informed and look at ways that we can change to make our city a better city than it is today. And that's something that we evolve as a city. We are constantly in a state of change. We constantly change to improve what we do in our community. And we ask for input. We ask citizen groups, whether it's neighborhood associations, stakeholders involved in the community, which is why we're fortunate to have Pastor Miller work with us, and why we're going to have one of these conversations that's going to continue to be quarterly. In order for us to move forward, we're here to listen so we can improve our community. That is the number one goal of communication, so that everyone feels part of this community. I can honestly tell you, I don't know one council member that's in this room or on the council, even past council, that do not try to listen to our residents to make our city better than what it is today for future generations. And we are 100% committed to that. We have more public meetings on any, regardless of the issue today, we have public meetings and a public process throughout our entire community on a whole host of issues. And we're committed to continuing that dialogue to make our city better for future generations, and for today, as well as future generations. I can't stress that enough. The whole thing about what we're trying to do here is we're looking at ways to listen to you, to ideas of how we can better improve what we have. And it's going to take time. And some things, you, as Pastor Miller mentioned, some things you may be able to implement, some things you may not. It doesn't mean that we're not listening. It doesn't mean we're not carrying any passion. Because we are. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And I'm being honest with you when I'm saying that. So I do appreciate, and we're here listening to you. I've met with some of you personally that are here in this room. They know that. And we'll continue and committed to listening to our residents and your concerns.
Chief.
So it's striking to me that there are folks here that judge police officers when they haven't been a police officer in this. I have walked up to vehicles. I have made a traffic stop for a seemingly innocuous vehicle violation, and I have been assaulted. I have been in fear when I walk up to a vehicle. And that says when there is someone that is stopped by the police that is afraid, and the person that is stopping someone also has fear, that is a recipe for disaster. It also, there's a very important thing. I believe the procedural justice perspective argues that the legitimacy of the police is linked to public judgments about fairness of the processes in which the police make decisions, exercise authority, and when people are treated with dignity and respect, they may not like the outcome, they do feel that they were treated with respect. And the I recognize that there are policies that folks are demanding are changed that will not change. There is space for change and movement in some policies. And you have a police department that is going to examine changes that are suggested. And so that's where I stand.
So here's a last question. Here's a last question that I'll ask before we wrap up with closing comments because we're coming up on 8 o'clock. Again, the questions that were submitted, if you know that you did not give an email address, please come up if you did not hear your question asked so it can be answered. This is from Renaissance. The Tempe Police Use of Force policy that is currently available to the public for scrutiny is from 1998. When will we have access to the most current version?
So the version that's online is the most current version. We went to a new software aligned with our OpenGov practices and our transparency commitment. We went to Power VMS. Now, it doesn't mean anything to anybody except that it is a piece of technology where we can easily update our policies and put them online. The default on that program was to make all of our policies from a date of, I think it was 10/1/1998. We agonized over that because of the human time that it took to go in and remove it from every policy because it wasn't accurate. So, Renaissance, whomever asked the question, if anybody sees a policy that says 1998, our use of force policy is current, it is aligned with smart practices, and it is not from 1998. It is, I believe it was updated in 2019. So, question the date that's on there and eliminate it from any kind of energy you have around it being antiquated, because it is not.
All right. So the questions that you guys asked tonight, in terms of where they line with particular policies, that information will go online. That information will be there for you to review. I'm not sure of the time frame for that. Okay. You don't have it. Okay. But that information will be there. I'm going to offer a phone number for you tonight. Don't call after 11, and don't call before 6. Is everybody ready? So let me just
Sorry, y'all. I had to mute this so I didn't put his phone number out there.
Those things will end up being answered online. If you ask a question and the question was not answered, we will get you an answer to that particular question. And for those of you who have requested a particular meeting and you've not had that, we want to make sure that we facilitate those actual meetings. There are a lot of things that the agency is doing to make sure, and I think somebody asked a question earlier about showing the management officers, but then also making sure that the conversations go back and forth and that these are actual proper working relationships. This is not an instance where we're going to only have conversations when something happens of a magnitude that is tragic or traumatic. These will be continual conversations and dialogue. Again, there will be dialogue in smaller sessions where we can hash out certain things. But at the end of the day, the larger meetings are for policy questions to be answered as they stand right then, not for policies to be dictated and changed during the quarter. We will have a landing page soon. And if you sign in, please give your email address. If you did not give your email address, please give us your email address. You ain't got to give us other demographics. You don't have to give us your name, any of that. But please give us an email address so you can be informed of the next steps and what's going to happen. And the mayor with a brief statement, and then the chief of police with a brief statement. And then we're going to go on.
Thank you, Pastor Member, for facilitating tonight's dialogue. I've had the opportunity to listen a lot more than I've spoken tonight, and I want to assure all of you who are here that I've heard what you had to say. It's, in my position as city manager, one of the things that we try to commit to is that we continue to look for opportunities for improvement in the way that we deliver our services. That would include police services. We have an obligation to provide excellent services and fair and just and unbiased services to everyone, regardless of your race, regardless of your religion, regardless of your age, regardless of your socioeconomic background. All that is true. For anyone who has open sourced, investigated anything about my experience and my background would know that a commitment to public service is something I take very seriously. We may not all agree. We may not all know exactly what the outcome is going to be ultimately. If we commit ourselves to having peaceful, respectful dialogues like we had tonight, even if they are passionate, even if people say things that we don't necessarily agree with, that's a huge step forward. The opportunity to have these kind of conversations is now. I certainly understand from the viewpoint of those of you who have expressed concerns today that conversation can only take you so far. The commitment that we ought to make tonight is to look for opportunities not to get entrenched in hard positions on polar opposite places, but to find areas where we can agree. And I hope that the things that I just said are areas where we can certainly agree. That the provision of services, especially police services in the city of Tempe, or frankly in any city across this nation, should be done fairly, should be done impartially, should be done in a manner which is consistent with our laws and our Constitution. That is a basic sort of foundational principle that we should all believe in. I certainly believe in it. I'm looking for opportunities for continuous improvement. Our policies, our procedures, the manner in which we do things should be things that we should feel good about putting out for scrutiny, transparency, and opportunities to do better. To me, that means that, and I was gratified by the comments that you made earlier, quite frankly, that in your dealings with the city of Phoenix, that you recognize that there were areas that you could pursue and areas where you realized that perhaps there were barriers to what you could not pursue. That sort of willingness to sort of come together and have conversations means a lot from someone in my position, and I took that to heart. So I'm hopeful, as Pastor Miller said, that rather than this being sort of something we do because we checked the box and said we did it, that it actually has some bearing and import. And that bearing and import to me is, let us find those areas that we can have appropriate discussions and be willing to accept criticism and be willing to accept where we have fallen short. And be willing to accept that Tempe police officers are as equally burdened by the perceptions of law enforcement that pervade society currently. And I understand that those perceptions can be very different depending on who you are. It can be very different depending upon your background and upon your individual personal experiences with law enforcement. I have seen a spectrum of things. I certainly believe that accountability is very, very important. And I'm committed to that level of accountability and transparency and a continuing discussion after this evening. And I know that the police department is as well. And I know that our city council is as well. Because I've had those conversations with them, and I know that they're as committed to continuous improvement as I am, and as all of the 1,600 plus employees of the city of Tempe, including police, are. That's my commitment. So thank you for being part of this dialogue, and I appreciate your coming here and expressing your thoughts, opinions, and suggestions.
And thank you. I again want to thank you all for coming. This is something that's very important to me personally, but also to our entire council, as well as to our city staff, those that are here this evening, those that will be watching. These are important issues about our community for everyone here in this room, not just here, but in our entire community. This is an opportunity for you to share ideas that we can build upon. As the city manager mentioned, as Andrew mentioned, that we are always looking at ways to improve what we are doing. And we need everyone involved to do that. And I think there's always room for improvement, and we're very respectful of the opportunities that come our way so that we can be a better city and we can be more transparent and open. And I know that we want to continue to build Tempe in a manner that is safe and focuses on respect for all involved. Tempe really is a city, and that's what we pride ourselves on. And we're going to continue to listen and make improvements for everyone in our city, regardless of who you are, where you come from, and what section of the city you live in. This is something that we take very seriously, that we want to continue to improve upon. And we're going to take a great city and make it greater, and we're going to take this opportunity to be the city that you all expect from us. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief Moore?
Sure, I have, as the chief of Tempe, I have a duty to employ the best evidence-based practices, and we're doing that. Our law enforcement officer policing culture defines some of our coping mechanisms for ambiguous and unpredictable work. I am wholly committed as the chief of this organization to hire, train the very best people in service. And we operate in a high-stakes environment, and that high-stakes environment is lost on some. We handle about 140,000, give or take, calls for service every year. And shockingly, even though all of the efforts that we're making to de-escalate, all of the investments that we're making in our training, the assaults on officers, 10 officers assaulted while performing their duties is rising. It is rising, and I take my duty and my responsibility very seriously to give the men and women of the Tempe Police Department the tools, the training, the support, the accountability measures, and the trust to use force appropriately within the parameters of the law, within our training, and aligned with our values. I have high confidence that the men and women of the Tempe Police Department show up for every shift, fully committed to being there for people. Some people that hate them because of the very profession that they chose. Some people that believe in the whole abolition of police. But the men and women that we choose to be Tempe police officers and retain the authorities that we entrust them with will stand between someone hoping to do someone harm and someone who is potentially a victim, regardless of how much you despise us or support us. I believe in the men and women of the Tempe Police Department. I believe in their commitment to reducing harm and building trust. And I choose to be here every day as the police chief, not because I was drafted, not because I'm compelled to stay, because it is the right duty for me, and it is an honor and privilege to serve beside the men and women of the Tempe Police Department.
Thank you. So again, everyone, thank you all for coming out. Your questions will be answered as long as there's an email address and the card that you submitted. There will be continual conversations, and again, we will have policy talks. Me and the chief have talked about getting some citizens together to talk about actual use of force policies, etc. So those are some of the things that will be coming down the pipe. You all have a good night. Coming for our sake, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna close this out. I couldn't really keep up with the chat, but I'll get in touch with y'all later. Tempe Against Police Violence out.